For the entire 2026 tournament, a massive portion of the football world watched the soft foul counts, the deleted red cards, and the VAR reviews, and walked away convinced FIFA was actively manipulating the game to protect the Argentine national team. When the final whistle blew and Spain celebrated their victory, that tension exploded into violence. Argentine players and coaching staff initiated a massive on-pitch brawl, grabbing opponents by the throat and forcing them to the ground. The global football community immediately rejected the conduct. Pundits called it a disgrace on live television, and legendary players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic looked at the footage and branded the behavior completely unprofessional. Facing intense public pressure, FIFA played by the book. They publicly launched a formal disciplinary investigation into the team, citing offensive behavior and blatant violations of fair play principles caught on tape. But behind closed doors, a completely different story was unfolding. At the exact moment that prosecutor was appointed, FIFA leadership quietly sent a private letter directly to the Argentine Football Association. The document, which eventually leaked to the Argentine press, featured the FIFA president gushing over the team's run. He closed the letter by praising their constant work, attention to detail, and, incredibly, their professionalism. For the fans who had spent a month shouting about biased officiating, this hidden communication effectively signed and dated their core suspicion that FIFA maintains a neutral face for the cameras while privately coddling its favorites. Rather than a simple diplomatic slip-up, the letter represents a new entry in a long-documented ledger of instances where the governing body found ways to let this specific team off the hook. You only have to look back to the Qatar 2022 World Cup to see the pattern. Following that final, Argentina faced serious charges over lewd locker room celebrations and the direct mockery of French star Kylian Mbappé. The total punishment for those infractions amounted to a fine of about $25,000, literal pocket change for a national federation, with zero action taken against any individual player. The operational track record is clear. The organization announces formal charges to appease the watching press, while ensuring the actual consequences barely scratch their favorite squad. Rather than showing humility in the face of this escalating scandal, FIFA President Gianni Infantino went on the offensive. He launched a direct attack against the journalists and fans, asking valid questions. In a lengthy 15-slide presentation, he accused his detractors of spreading hate, told everyone to go reflect, meditate, or pray, and staggeringly claimed the entire World Cup had gone off with zero incidents. That statement requires ignoring a massive list of geopolitical scandals. The tournament featured sweeping visa bans targeting Iranian and Somali officials, along with verified instances of racist abuse hurled by politicians. It also ignores a severe human cost. This was a tournament marked by 4 celebration-related deaths in Mexico City, a deceased young player in South Africa, and documented spikes in domestic abuse across England. And that is before mentioning the Balogun scandal, where a legitimate red card ban was completely reversed following a direct phone call from the President of the United States. By forcefully denying these verified events, Infantino constructed a fortified alternate reality, shielding his institution from accountability by simply refusing to acknowledge the physical world. To be fair, the 2026 World Cup achieved massive logistical success. Delivering an event of this scale across 3 countries is difficult, and the final match drew a record-breaking 39 million viewers in the US alone. There is also a reasonable procedural defense. Sending courtesy letters to finalists is standard diplomatic protocol, and the squad managed by Lionel Scaloni genuinely is one of the most dominant sides of this era. From a strictly bureaucratic standpoint, a violence investigation handled by a prosecutor and a polite congratulatory letter signed by a president can exist as 2 separate, isolated processes. But that charitable read falls apart when you factor in basic judgment. Leadership requires reading the room, and treating a major on-field brawl and a gushing note of praise as totally unrelated events shows a catastrophic failure to understand public perception. When you put the leaked professionalism letter right next to the furious zero incidents rant, you see a governing body completely incapable of acknowledging its own flaws. That bunker mentality is now triggering serious external consequences. U.S. Congressman Jamie Raskin is actively demanding the organization hand over internal visitor logs and records of its cozy relationship with the Trump administration. Meanwhile, the man in charge has completely isolated himself, refusing to take a single question from reporters since before the tournament even kicked off. The deep-seated distrust of this organization reaches far beyond a few bad calls or a single pitch brawl. It is the natural reaction to an institution that operates as an untouchable fortress, protecting its favorites, gaslighting the public on basic facts, and meeting every request for transparency with open contempt.